Yay Networks.
Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sybil, and I can't wait for you to hear all of the Great Girlfriend magic on today's show. So without further ado, grab something great to drink, grab your pen and your paper, and get ready for this week's episode. Enjoy! Hey, great girlfriends, and happy Wednesday and happy fall, because this is like one of the most marvelous times of the year. No matter what country, season, or city you're in, you're probably getting the most fabulous weather and fabulous fashion. And I thought it would be really great for us to talk a little bit about how you can show up as your absolute best self, incorporating style into your story. Some of you are the most stylish women on the planet, so this conversation may add like an ounce of value, and some of you are like screaming for help, and this is going to add like pounds and pounds and pounds of value to your life. Wherever you are in your style journey, I am so excited to bring on an expert here today. My guest today, Jenny Eversole, is the founder of Style Space, and the purpose of her company and the mission behind her company is to help people feel and be their best selves, using style as their I want to say their finest accessory to their personalities and to their great character. Jenny, how are you today?
I am so well, Sybil. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And I love everything that you share, and it's just such an honor to be here. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's an honor to have you. Listen, I had my own personal Style Space experience last week with my stylist, Lauren. Hey, Lauren. And I was nervous, Jenny, because I have moved from New York to LA. My closet is very New York-ish and not very LA-ish. And the culture here is so different. So I find myself sort of clamoring sometimes to show up with my personality, with the right fabrics, the right styles and textures that make me feel like I'm acclimating best to this coast. And I'll tell you, the struggle is real for me, because my adaptation is automatically to go back to my New York ways. And those fabrics don't even work in this region. So I'm learning a lot about how style can affect your persona, or even your confidence as you're walking into spaces. But tell me a little bit about your why behind Style Space, and the aha that led you to know what I'm now learning as a result of working with Lauren last week.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, style is a journey, and it's not something that we're necessarily born with. I would beg to differ with you. Lauren said that you have such amazing style and it comes so natural to you. So, but not every,
Thanks,
I definitely did not grow up like a stylish person. I grew up with a lot of sisters, and I would always ask them for advice, but I'm a former fashion designer, and fashion and design is what led me to Style Space. So 3 months after I had twins, I was completely lost. Even though I was a fashion designer designing beautiful things for other people, I was living in stretchy yoga pants and ginormous having twins. And so basically I had to just I would just go to black stretchy pants just to kind of make myself more invisible until I had them. And 3 months after, I was invited to go on a TV show to give an interview of my fashion collections. So I was freaking out, not because like I've been on TV before, I know how to interview. However, I didn't know what to wear. This was 3 months postpartum. So I called my sister, who is actually a stylist, and I'm like, Alicia, I am so stumped about what to wear. I'm going on air literally in 2 hours. You need to help me. And so she walked me through step by step, like what to wear, how to do my hair, how to do my makeup. No, that's not going to pick up well on camera. That will. And no, that looks awful on your skin tone. You should have known that already. I'm like, we're so much nicer at Style Space than my sister. She's super blunt to me. But it was so helpful. And I completely felt like myself again, like my most elevated self, like you mentioned. And I marched into that studio. I'm like, I am owning this TV interview, and I'm going to do it so well. And it was one of my best interviews I've ever done. And I just thought, wow, if 30 minutes with my sister on a video call could have such an impact on me, what could it do for other people? And that's really where the idea and the inspiration came for Style Space.
Mhm. You think about even going back to what you said about the yoga pants and wanting to feel invisible.
Yeah.
There's always a goal when we are getting dressed. Some people are going for comfort. Some people, like you said, you stages of life where you're going through invisibility. I don't want to be seen, or I want to cover things that I don't feel the greatest about, or even I want to shine the brightest in the room, or it could be I just want to be comfortable and show up however that is. But there's always sort of a goal in mind. Um, and I don't know that everyone says I want to feel and be my best self when I'm dressing. When Lauren asked me last week, like what was the goal of my wardrobe, I was like, I think I want my clothes to tell a story. Like I want them to mean something to who I am and what I do. But I hadn't really considered like being my best self. I kind of hoped that that was an outcome of me choosing a certain shirt or a certain top, that it would bring that to me, but not an intention. So how do we start to incorporate that type of intention into our shopping if we are somewhat like, maybe even clueless about what that could look like?
Yeah, for sure. Well, as you mentioned, like every day, whether we like it or not, we decide who we're going to be by the first thing we do is getting ourselves dressed, doing our hair, doing our makeup. And we are setting that intention of how we want to show up to other people. And it doesn't matter like whether you're doing it right or not right, it still is going to take the same amount of time. It might even take more time if you are unclear about what message you are sharing with other people and yourself. And so really defining like that, like what are your colors? Like what makes your skin radiate and like highlight the best features on you? What silhouettes are telling your story? Which ones are accentuating your best features that you feel confident in. And so when you feel your best, when you feel most confident in the silhouettes and the colors and like the story that you're telling other people, like you are going to rock your day and it actually increases your productivity. It also, you may have heard of this new term called dopamine dressing. There's like studies and
Yes.
behind this. Yeah, but you actually can boost your dopamine by putting on things that make you look and feel your best.
Yeah, that's so good because when you think about some of the emotional ties that come along with our clothing, like I realized many moons ago, I'm a Prince girl. I love a bright color. I love really great prints. I also love very neutral tones, but there are times when I'm feeling low, I need the colors to reinvigorate. And then there are times that I'm super confident. I don't require color. I can go with a white top and I'm feeling fine, right? So I understand how sometimes that intention can really help to set the course for how you show up. I do wonder this one big thing that I think is now being demystified with people is that style is expensive or that style has a price tag. I want to talk a bit about that because there is this notion, I don't know if it's age old or if it still exists, but there's this notion that the more you spend, the more stylish you are. I want you to tell us what Style Space has to say about that.
Oh, we've got a lot to say about that. So basically, your style is an expression of who you are as an individual, and no brand or company can define that for you. You define that for yourself. And I have seen the most stylish people that shop secondhand thrift stores to people that interchange those secondhand pieces with Prada pieces. And ultimately, that piece that you choose is it has to be that expression of who you are. And if it happens to be Prada, if it happens to be something that you find at the thrift store, fantastic. As long as it fits within those like style principles of like, does it fit your body type? Does it fit your lifestyle? Does it reflect a good color for you? And does it tell your story as well?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, how important is incorporating a stylist and how often should we do that little just kind of check? It's kind of like a wellness check for me. So I kind of feel like if you go to the doctor every year and you have these visits for the dentist twice a year, that you should incorporate a consultation with an expert on style. Just if you're feeling uncertain about your wardrobe or want to add, but how often should you do that check in? And how do you know when it's time for that check in?
Yeah. So I would just say when you open your closet, how do you feel about everything that's in there? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel stressed? Do you feel like it's taking too long to choose something from your closet? Because the majority of people in our country, they actually only wear 20% of their closet. And all the other stuff is in there. And maybe you haven't switched seasons. Maybe you have things that don't fit anymore. Maybe you don't want to part with things that have emotional connection and value. And there your stylist can help you like break that down and help remove that emotional baggage that can come along with your clothing pieces, and also just let you know which things that maybe just don't flatter you anymore. We're in different seasons and different lifestyles every, you know, we change throughout our lives, and we're supposed to. Our bodies change, our lifestyles change, and our clothing and our wardrobe should reflect that. So if you are completely clueless to style, and if you feel like, "Wow, I need a big help and a big tune-up," then I suggest doing a package where you work with a stylist and you start first with, like, maybe decluttering your closet first and starting on a clean slate, and then the next thing you'll do is a shopping session where she will handpick things for you to look at, and then you will order them, you'll try them on with her in the 3rd session, which is where you pair the different outfits together with everything that you have in your closet. And so that is something that is really great to start with if you feel like you're really struggling, and, like, we're not meant to be the experts in everything. We hire a mechanic to fix our car. We
That's right.
hire an accountant, and like you said, it's just general upkeep, and, you can search these things. There's videos all throughout YouTube and Instagram. However, it's so much easier to hire an expert to do the things well with less time, less money, and they save you so much hassle in the end. So if you feel like you have a good, strong foundation, but you just, want a little bit of elevation, we suggest a seasonal update every single season when you switch your wardrobe, just going through and doing like a wardrobe refresh with the stylist. It could be seasonal, it could be yearly, and that's basically what we recommend.
I would just say a couple days prior to meeting with Lauren, my stylist, I parted ways with some things through a company I used to come and do luxury resale, etc. And I had a dress that I've had for my daughter's 11 now, 11 years. It was a postpartum dress that was fabulous that I wore to a dinner that I love dearly. That's amazing in every way, but I didn't like what it represented in my life anymore. And so for that reason, I was like, this dress is great, but I have got to part ways because I don't even feel like her anymore. So I feel like when I put it on, I felt dated. And there's certain things that, probably 5 years old or more, I don't feel dated in denim. I don't feel dated in certain things. But I noticed that when I put that dress on that I just adored, it was like like a kid's Easter dress. It's like one of my favorites. I didn't have the same sentiment. And unfortunately, I was like, I have to part with my favorites. So I think sometimes we look at it hanging up and we think that it's still valuable because it's hanging in our closet. But when you try things on, you start to realize that you have a relationship with things. And depending on how they fall, or depending on where you wore them and why, they don't always stay, they don't always fit the new chapter. And so for great girlfriends, for anyone that's listening, that was just a nudge I had just to try on some of some of my faves that are hanging and experience them again and see if they have any, like, if there's any warm, fuzzy, fresh feeling that made me want to try them out or wear them again in this season. And I can say I did, there were a lot of things that were from previous chapters of my life that I had to get honest about. It didn't matter how much you spent on them. It doesn't matter, what they meant before. If right now they're not serving, you're absolutely right that they become clutter. You can
Yes.
have expensive clutter and and you can need to part ways. All right, great girlfriends, let's have a Sybil Gets Real Honest moment. So I'm in the middle of back to busy season and I don't like cooking, y'all. I like eating, but I don't prefer cooking. So I'm often challenged when it's time to get healthy meals in front of my family that don't make me, spend hours in the kitchen with a ton of dirty dishes afterwards. Well, guess what? I have discovered my new favorite option called Splendid Spoon, and I'm super happy about it because for me, I get to feed my family healthy, tasty, spice of life type curated meals from around the world that feel so fresh. They're plant-based, GMO-free, gluten-free, healthy, 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 and delicious, delicious, delicious. So every time I said I was in the drive-thru line, I would say this: I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. And do better season is here. Now that I have Splendid Spoon delivered fresh to my door, I'm able to have my kids do grab and go meals that are super healthy for their bodies and happy for their taste buds. So do better season is here for me, and I'm fueling up with Splendid Spoon, and now I want you to do the very same thing. Fuel up for busy days with Splendid Spoon. Get started today and get $120 off your first 3 boxes at splendidspoon.com/girlfriends. That's $120 off at splendidspoon.com/girlfriends. I wanted to get into the do's and don'ts because you mentioned that there's 5 do's and don'ts that
Yeah.
were super important. And I want our great girlfriends to have their mental checklist because, as they go through the closet and as you switch seasons, I also think it's so great that we get to help other women tell their stories by donating clothes or reselling clothes or gifting to someone who may have loved our clothes before. So when we part ways, sometimes we think that things are lost, but it's actually a gain to someone else, and it's a gain to us to be able to see someone else benefit. And there are organizations that really do a great job of also supporting women recapturing their stories as well, their fashion stories. So let's get
Absolutely.
into the do's and don'ts that are
Okay.
really important.
Yeah, so we talked about some of them already. So to start, you need to find out what your body type is. There's several different body types. I'm sure you've heard of it, like the hourglass, the pear, the apple, and basically it's where you carry the weight in the proportion of your body. And the ultimate goal is to look the most proportionate. So if you carry more of the weight on the bottom like me and I have more of a smaller on top, you create more volume and weight on the top, and then you accentuate the waistline because that's one of my smaller features, and then it draws attention away from the bottom. And that's the opposite for someone who's an apple. So you're going to draw more attention to your legs because you carry more of your weight up on the top, and so you'll wear your darker colors on top with less fabric, and then the more texture and pattern on the bottom.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
yeah, so and there's different tricks to trick the eye because it's all about creating like that silhouette of balance. And we have a guide too on our website that you can download for free on like each one of those types. We'll break it down, and then it you can also do the measurements that we show as well on the guide. So that's the first step. And once you know what silhouettes you are, that's like the foundation of everything else, in my opinion. And then the next, you should really know the colors that you look best in and that you feel best in. What is your power color? If you open your closet, like which one's screaming your name? And like you said, Sybil, some days you don't need the color, you don't need the pattern. You're like, white is great for me today. I am already feeling super confident and powerful. And sometimes people are like, color is scary for me. I am definitely not that person. I'm like, if I'm not in color, I'm gonna feel sad that day. So not really.
Yeah, I understand completely what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I admire my opposites that are like, I need muted tones, I need calm, I need inner peace, and it happens to be in a neutral, and I'm like, "That's great. That's so awesome." So, like, finding that awesome color for you is gonna be yeah, color like, knowing what the undertones of your skin are and the overtones, like, are you cool or warm? And that really like, right here, this is super cool. I am very much a summer palette, and that means bright defined colors, not the muted, muddy colors. Muddy colors do not look good on me, but someone with a spring complexion, someone that has a warmer skin tone, they look amazing in those colors, and sometimes I
Mhm.
wish I was them, but I'm not, so I'll stick
Mhm.
to summer. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's another thing, knowing your colors, and there's a lot of psychology and, theory involved in color, and we have color specialists on our platform too that can help match you to your best color. Um, so the color, that is very important. And also defining like who you are and your personal brand. This can be super emotional, like what you mentioned, how you had to part ways with kind of that chapter in your life that was represented in that dress, like I'm sure you thought of your daughter and but like each new chapter we have to honor, accept, and move on to the next chapter. And your style is reflecting that new chapter that you are entering. Like when I was working with Lauren, it was very emotional for me, and I am very familiar with style, and but, like, she was kinda like my style therapist. She's like, "Jenny, like, you thought of what other people think of you in that." And I'm like, "But what it means to me is something different." She's like, "Well, you have to think about what you're representing and your brand." And, because I'm leaving this chapter as a designer and I'm entering, like, this new chapter as, like, a CEO of an international brand, and it's very different, like, being
Mhm.
so present or so in the public versus when I was a
Mhm.
designer in my studio. So anyway,
Mhm.
so I had to let go of some things, and I'm still letting go of things. I'm like, I'll just leave it in this little corner. But for those emotional pieces, you can always just fold them away and store them in a different location. So,
Oh,
but
that's
yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah, and like your brand, like back to the colors as well. Like your brand likely has colors associated with it
Mhm.
too. So your personal stylist, Lauren specifically, she specializes in iconic branding style. So she can help you define your personal and your business brand. So
Nice.
edit and curate your closet. So like we mentioned, going through the things, letting go of things that are not serving you so that you make room for the things that are. And then the last is having like a wardrobe essentials. And we have actually a wardrobe essential checklist on that same guide that you can download from our website for free. But basically things like a tailored button-down shirt, that's essential for your wardrobe. And a white t-shirt, for example, and not just one that um, you found at Walmart, which is great, but investing a little bit more money in a white t-shirt is going to give you a lot more runway. Rather than 5 washes, the seams are going to get
That's
looser
right.
in a shirt from Walmart, for example. But like if you invested in something a little bit more high quality, you're going to wear that for years. A nice high quality t-shirt. Figure flattering jeans, finding something that just hugs the right places the right way. Yeah, those are some of the wardrobe essentials. But yeah, some of the don'ts I would say in style is don't wear things that you don't feel great in. It's kind of obvious, but if it's a trend, trends are super fun. But if it doesn't do favors for you and your body and your lifestyle, like for example, I'm not going to wear a crop top and low rise jeans chasing after toddlers. Like it's not gonna happen.
Right. It's not a good look. Yeah. It's like, meh.
Wardrobe malfunctions there. It's just not
Yeah.
gonna work. But I mean, go if you're 20, that's awesome. Like you rock those nice jeans and a halter. Like that's awesome. But everybody has different lifestyles and seasons and chapters that the style can help reflect.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the idea that we have to participate in everything that's happening in fashion. And I don't think so. I mean, I feel like you're saying, once you locate your style and you want to add elements of trend to it or not, it's a choice. But I hope that great girlfriends realize they don't have to feel forced into buying everything that's being sold. you
Absolutely.
know,
Yeah.
I'm completely leave me out of the croc trend. Leave me out. I'm not in it. I didn't want any parts of it. I tried them on and I was like, yeah, I definitely don't like them. I knew I didn't, and then I tried them on just because my kids were like, just try them. No, I don't. These are not for me. But kudos to everyone else who's found their
Yep,
heartbeat in a crock. It's just not my thing. And
absolutely.
yeah, and so I totally understand that. I wonder too, Jenny, for women who are during pandemic we got very wrapped into athleisure, and it was just so easy to just find
Yeah.
your sweet spot in
Yeah.
athleisure.
Yeah.
And now so many people are having trouble parting ways with with athleisure as they're returning to work, to in-person work. I see it all the time. I hear women talking all the time about having to just jump back in. What are like two core, like even bottoms, that you think people should make an investment in? You mentioned the top, like having the solid, like make an investment in top, but what are two bottoms that you think are like, just those mandatory office pieces?
Yeah, so the amazing thing about now is we have created hybrids in everything, hybrid schedules and work, and hybrid styles go along with that too. So continue your athleisure and your comfort. Like flowy tops are like a huge thing right now, flowy bottoms. Those are really comfortable. And also take it from leggings to a really comfortable pair of like Madewell jeans, for example, that maybe are high waisted or mid rise, not into low rise, but I mean, by all means, if you are, great. Um,
Uh-huh.
Make sure it's comfortable, and throw on keep that t-shirt on and throw on a power blazer on top. Blazers, you can just like a structured blazer, you can pick it right out of your closet, throw it on, and it's that hybrid approach where you're not taking yourself too seriously, yet you still look really nice and put together, and you can also change out, like, your shoes and your accessories. You can make a look really formal, or you can make it look really casual, and yeah, like wearing a pair of trainers, for example, like shoes, those are a really great way to, like, make it look casual with a blazer too, and jeans. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I hope that our great girlfriends are really capturing these do's and don'ts and even starting to rethink because as you were talking, I'm thinking about some things that I was about to fold away and now I want to kind of give them a new life.
Yeah.
And repair them, pair them differently, and reimagine the way that I'm wearing them. So I thank you for dropping that last piece on us. I had the best time with Lauren. She was so easy to work with, so understanding, even as I was kind of trying to swerve through my closet swiftly because it was a mess, Lauren was like, turn back really quickly. What's that? Or what could you do with that? And she just really paid close attention to things that had become an oversight to me. So that stimulation was helpful. How can great girlfriends that are listening have a consultation, get that style therapy going with Style Space, and even learn more about the do's and don'ts that they should now take into their style Bible?
Well, stylespace.com is the location of our website. You can search through about 50 different styling sessions and you select the styling need that you have. Is it a closet clean out? Is it a rebranding of your personal style? Is it discovering your style? You don't know what your style is. You don't know what your body type is. That Erica specifically focuses on that. But so basically, you sort through whatever your style need is, and then you connect with your stylist. You can book a time, and you'll be sent all of the Zoom details. And after you meet with your stylist, you will then be given a style plan in the form of styling notes. And she will give you basically a blueprint of what your styling goals are and how to achieve them, product links as well, so that you don't have to go sorting through the internet. She will basically just give you the whole style plan that you need.
Oh, I love that. That makes everything so easy. So easy. I can't thank you enough, Jenny, because again, my time with Lauren was amazing. And I was so excited to just have the ease of the experience. And then now learning your mission and understanding your why behind your business and helping women to see and be and experience their best selves using style as a tool, I think is so powerful. And as we are switching seasons, and in most climates other than mine, I'm in California, so shorts all year, most of the year. But everyone else is switching climates and incorporating some really nice fabrics and heavier sweaters and just doing all the fun stuff that I miss doing in New York, but whatever. This is going to be their go-to episode for learning how to utilize their style Bible and style guide to really inspire their best potential at all times. So thank you so much for this episode. And
Well,
where can they follow you personally if they have any questions or want to keep up with you?
yeah, so stylespace.official is our Instagram handle. And if you have any questions, put them in a comment, send us a message. And if you ever want us to do a feature on a specific theme, we also are about to launch a blog and we will absolutely consider anything that you send our way. So thank you so much. Sybil, thank you. It's been an honor. It's so nice to connect with you over this
You
video
too.
call. And I'm just so honored that you invited me on your show.
Of course. It's so great to meet you. And thank you so much for your time.
You're most welcome.
All right, great girlfriends. Did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast and the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group at The Great Girlfriends, follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends, and on Twitter at _great GFS. I'm Sybil Amuti, and I'm out. Peace.